Hey guys, welcome back to Tul World Plus. This is another weekly lesson. Today we're going to be going over Kwang Gae. We're going to be doing about half of it, so let's jump into it.
All right, so let's take a look at Kwang Gae, the first few movements. Mr. Ju is going to demonstrate that, and then we'll kind of break it down a little bit. So, Kwang Gae Tul, 준비, 걸음 앞세, 시작! And paro. All right, very good. All right, let's take a look at the first technique. It starts with a parallel stance and in the heaven hand. Let's take a look at the very first technique and go. So the arm breaks across, straight across with power to about the shoulder line. And then it comes slowly back to the belt. And when the hand reaches about the belt level, the feet will come together and stop at the same time. Let's take a look at that again. Go! Sometimes students will go up on the ball of the foot when they break the hands. This is not correct. All right? Some students will break the hand apart with their foot flat on the ground, and then they'll raise it and then settle into the closed raise stance B. Something like this, which is incorrect, all right? So there really is no up and down movement. It just settles down. We'll demonstrate that again there, Mr. Ju. Go straight across, the feet is flat on the ground, and then you set the foot down. Next movement, go! So here, Mr. Ju is doing a left walking stance, upset punch with the forefists, and it's performed in slow motion. So you might note that in slow motion, you still accelerate the technique. So all techniques should go from 0 and accelerates to its maximum speed. But since we're doing it in a slow motion, it still accelerates. The fist is going to be a little bit higher than the elbow so that the attacking tool, which is the forefist, is reaching its target. If it was too low, then the bottom of the fist would be striking its target. Let's go next movement. Okay, so let's take a look at the upset punch with the forefist. And Mr. Ju is going to demonstrate it in a regular motion. All right, ready? And go! So that's what you might actually do in an actual situation, self-defense situation, or maybe sparring, right? Now, let's take a look at it. And in the pattern, we're actually going to do it in the slow motion. But remember, techniques should accelerate from 0 to its maximum speed. But we're performing this technique in a slow motion. Go! So the thing to note is that the eyes, hands, feet, breath comes together at the last moment in time it strikes. Something like that. How fast should the technique go in a slow motion? That there is no definition for that, as long as it looks slower than the regular motion. But you do have to accelerate from 0 to its maximum speed in the slow motion. All right, let's take a look at movement number 4. The right foot is actually going to pivot about 15 degrees inward. Something like this. So Mr. Ju has pivoted already. He's going to step his left foot to the left side front foot. It's about toe to heel, about one shoulder width apart. His left heel is going to be off the ground, and then when he sets it down, he will then step into the right walking stance, executing a hooking block with the right palm. Let's take a look at how some students might perform this technique, where they actually don't pivot the front foot. So when Mr. Ju takes a step to the left side front foot, you can see that the body is more straightforward, but when he steps out, his body is actually moving away from its target. And so in order to keep that in line, you have to move the front foot in about 15 degrees and then step forward. Let's take a look at movement number 5. He's going to slide back into a right L stance, executing a low side block with the knife hand. Go! You'll notice that on the sliding that he will be sliding straight back so that the left foot is still along that line, and the sliding is about 1.5 shoulder width in distance. So sliding is one foot leads first and the other one follows along with it. So now let's take a look at movement number 6. Now you'll notice that he's already in a right L stance, meaning that his feet is already pointed inward 15 degrees. So there is no pivot on this left foot. He just steps to the right side front foot and executes the hooking block with the palm. Again, you'll notice that it'll be straightforward. Movement number 7, he'll slide back. Go! And you'll notice it's very similar to movement number 5. All right, and let's take the next technique. Ready? Go! Mr. Ju has just moved forward into a right rear foot stance, executing a high side block with the knife hand. Ready? Go! And it's the same as the last movement there.
Before we leave today, we have a couple things that we want to cover. Why don't you go ahead and lead that there, Master Ju?
Right. So one of the things that you'll notice in this particular pattern is that you have a lot of regular motion as well as slow motion. And so sometimes the question is, how slow do I go, right? Well, there is no, that's more like a tempo kind of a question. How fast should the pattern go? And there is no real answer to that. It's whatever your tempo works. So as long as the slow motion is performed slower than the regular technique, then it's considered slow. So we can't assign a time to it, like 1 second, 2 seconds, whatever, right? So as long as it's performed in a slow motion. Again, note that it's still going to accelerate from 0 to the maximum speed of that technique. Obviously, when you do it slow, it's the maximum speed of the slow motion.
Right. How about if we're on different surfaces? Does that kind of change the slow motion?
Absolutely. If you're training on a mat, your feet could be a little bit sticky. If you're wearing shoes outside, it could be a little bit different. If you're on hardwood floor and you have socks, that's going to be pretty easy. So you will have to learn how to train to balance on one foot. That's the way I would say. Train to balance on one foot. Maybe the way I do it anyway is I maybe use my toe on the ground, just kind of sliding along, not putting a lot of pressure, and developing that skill set will help you adjust to different surfaces, I believe.
Well, that was about a third. I know we said originally we're going to cover half, but go back and work on this kind of footwork, and we're going to continue this little series for the next week or two as we dissect Kwang Gae. Now, if you're interested in more information on these black belt patterns, we're going to be hosting a Tool 4 seminar, which covers all of the black belt patterns. We're also going to be doing a Tool 3 seminar, which covers Yogok to about Chungmu. That'll be coming in June. And coming up in May, we have a situational awareness seminar. And that's going to be open to all people. So it doesn't matter if they do martial arts or anything. You can get all your friends to jump in too. And we're going to be talking about safety and different situations.
Sounds great, Mr. Ju.
All right. Well, thanks for jumping in. We'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to be safe.
Keep training.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Taekwon.